Getting the most out of inbound. This is the HubSpot user group serving 3 hugs today. We're serving the Twin Cities HubSpot user group, Manufacturing Midwest, and Fractional Leadership. So I'm so excited to have you all here. I am Dave Meyer, your host, and along with me, Trygve Olsen, who's actually been to more inbounds than I have. And so we're going to do our best to answer questions, give you tips, tricks, and ideas on what we can do and how to get the most, of course, out of inbounds. As we get started, there is a very brief overview on what the heck is HubSpot user group. And if you're new to the hug and what we're doing, HubSpot user groups are in ad hoc meetings that we use to get together to network, to connect with other HubSpot users. BusyWeb is a HubSpot partner, as well as Dynamico, who co-hosts the Twin Cities HubSpot user group with us. We are actually having an in-person HubSpot user group in October that I'll tell you more about later. That's going to cover all of the announcements from the HubSpots or from Inbound. That's going to be incredibly fun. We've got one of our best and favorite HubSpotters, Alex Desnoyer, aka Des, who's going to be helping us and sharing live in person at the beautiful Mississippi Crossings in Champlin, Minnesota, which is 15 minutes out of downtown, right on the Mississippi River. And we're going to have a gorgeous day for that. So thanks, everybody. Right before we started recording, we went through and asked folks how many of us that are in participating here have been to Inbound. And sounds like everybody that's responded has never been to HubSpot or Inbound in person. How cool is that?
Very cool.
Yes. So this is an experience. I've been to a lot of conferences in my life and a lot of different sizes, all the way back to Trygve. I don't know if you even remember these, but Comdex before South by Southwest was a thing. It took over the entirety of Las Vegas. Inbound rivals Comdex. It is so dang huge. You get in there and it's just a sensory kind of overload. So one brief second, who are we? BusyWeb, Trygve and I are involved in BusyWeb based out of Champlin, and we would love to help if you have specific questions with HubSpot or to network and keep up. That's all I want to say about that, because this is about the community. So let's dig right in. First, I want to get right down to business because I know we're going to have lots of Q&A with all these first timers. So the biggest thing that I think you need to know and do about Inbound is you need to plan. If you haven't already registered for your events that you're going to attend, depending on your ticket, if you have
and sessions
and your session, if you have the Premier Pass, what do they call it?
There's VIP and then general admission.
Right. So I think I'm general admission this time because I'm doing a lot of networking, connecting. We have 7 BusyWebbers total that are going to Inbound, and about half of us have VIP tickets. And those are the ones that get to go to everything and all that. So
and free lunch.
And free lunch. Schedule is Partner Day on Tuesday. And as Bethany asked earlier, the show floor does not open on Tuesday. So this is the opening. Is it open, or is the VIP party on the floor?
So that's a great place for us to start, Dave. So once you walk into the front of the building, that's where all the registration is. And then you have to go down a set of escalators to get to the show floor.
Yes.
Off to the side, there's an area that it's called like Fenway on D or something like that. It's a big, giant open area with food. That's usually where all the food trucks are every year, and that's where the VIP party is. So the VIP party is for HubSpot partners and for people who have the VIP tickets. So last year, I didn't go last year. The year before, they had Trombone Shorty playing at the party. So it's a good time. Drinks are flowing. There's first of many opportunities to grab swag is at the VIP party.
Right. And I'm going to cover this in tips in the subsequent slides, but you want to get your swag early because, again, 12,000 people, all the good stuff is going to go pretty quick. So a lot of people just go to the show, and there's a lot of good handouts, or at least there has been in the past. Trigby, you got a Google Home one
Yep.
year, right?
Yep.
And there's always places to drop business cards and or scan the Click Pass, I believe, to get in. So that's super cool. Wednesday is the regular show. So 8 a.m. is when doors open, and the first spotlight is at 9:30. So if you're getting in and you want to get there, it's going to be a madhouse from like 7:30 until 9:30 when things open up. So if you're planning to get there and go right into the show, prepare yourself for lines. Hopefully the weather will be good. I actually haven't checked. Trigby, do you know what the weather's going to be like?
It's always hot.
It was just a sauna last year.
It's hot.
It was like 95, and the line to get in does go outside the front of the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center, the BCEC. So you're going to want to make sure that you're covered and ready. Easy to get into, but there's going to be a line at the beginning.
Bethany has a question, Dave. Do we need to bring physical biz cards for those things?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. I would, and I am going to bring a pocket full every day, because it's all about networking and connecting and finding great people and people that do similar things or complementary things. So I'm an old school guy, though. If you want, there is the Click Passes, and you can essentially kind of click your passes together and it shares content. As long as you're set up on the Inbound app, you can share content or share your info and even set up connections via that Click app. But I don't know. I'm an old school guy, and I go through at the end of the conference, and I literally connect with the people that I connected the cards for. And Bethany says she was curious for giveaways. Yeah, there's going to be fish bowls out at the conference. And yes, they will use the Click Pass to keep it virtual, but there's nothing like being able to connect and have that physical, tangible thing.
Yeah.
So I would bring biz cards.
Let's maybe explain what the Click Pass thing is. So when
I'm going to get into it.
You'll get a lanyard, and then on your lanyard there'll be a little button about this big, and it's an electronic button, and if you hold it up to another person's button, then all the information that's in the Inbound app will then identifying for you will then transfer to the other person. So it's a quick way of just, hey, let's pump buttons, and then we're sharing our information.
Absolutely. Yep. So it's going to be a lot. It's going to be fun. You're going to have an amazing time, but yeah, be ready to network. And that's one of our tips later. But first spotlight session is at 5:15 on Wednesday. And then it's a little bit earlier the next day and goes, and then there's inbound after hours. And Friday ends a little bit earlier so that everyone can get back on the road. But there's big names and big things that you're going to want to plan for. And luckily, all of the big stuff, so like Ryan Reynolds and all of that, that's going to be broadcast live on YouTube. So if you want to catch or replay some of that stuff, it will be available for free. Now, there's more than 200 sessions, actually 225, I think was the actual number, 270 plus speakers, and more than 12,000 attendees that we're all going to be sharing rooms with or sharing air with, right? So make sure that you're bringing lots of networking, keep your content and the things that you want ready and at hand. And, you want to do a little bit of time planning. I'm not a huge planner myself, but the times that I haven't had my at least day figured out before the next day, I've regretted it, because you wind up needing to run from one end of the conference center to the other. And if you're more than 5 minutes before, they close the doors 5 minutes before, even if you're pre-registered, and they open it up to general admission if you have the VIP passes. So you got to be there 5 minutes in advance anyway. So lots of planning.
Jen asked a really good question. Do they have snacks available, or should you bring some with you? So The answer is that there's usually snacks provided at different parts of the day.
Yeah.
Like one morning they'll have breakfast sandwiches that are available. So next morning they might have pastries. There's sort of a happy hour one night where they just roll out beer and snacks for people.
Mm-hmm.
I would also encourage bringing some snacks as well, just especially if you want to supplement or if you have dietary or food issues, you want to make sure you actually are taken care of. A caveat I will say is the last time I went to Inbound, I bought 3 packs of Albertsons gummy bears to take on the plane with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I got pulled out of line because they thought it looks the same as weed on the X-ray machine. So they went through my bags. They're like, "Yeah, we think it's weed." I was like, "No, it's just gummy bears, man." So I'm going to be door dashing my gummy bears this year.
There you go. There are a few apps and things to know about. Of course, the conference website, we've all been there and explored, but inbound.com is going to be a great place to keep handy in addition to the app, and that's available on iOS and Android. But there's going to be live streams available at Inbound Studio on YouTube. And if you wanted a deep dive and wanted to go through like specifics of the events and the different breakouts, there's a attendee webinar at inbound.com/attendee webinar, and they take a deep dive and they have Q&A on top of that as well. This is much more condensed and includes our learnings, but we did crib some notes from that. So if you want more, you can attend that there. Also, don't forget about the Inbound community. There's a ton of just chatting going on at this account. It's probably easiest just to go to app.hubspot.com/connectbeta and then go in, or just Google HubSpot community. But if you go in there, there's all kinds of conversations and pre-prep and tips and tricks that are available in that community page for Inbound. So I'd recommend all of those. So we can get to Q&A. I'm going to go a little fast, but session types, there's 3 kinds. There's education, deep dive, and stage. The stage ones are the ones that are going to be broadcast on the YouTube channel. Education sessions are the ones that you need the VIP passes for, and deep dives are the same, right? So there's all kinds of info, and of course you should be browsing and using your app and the website to pick yours. You can run them by track. You can connect up, and if you haven't already registered for those, it's probably too late because everything is sold out and completely booked, but there is standby seating if there's something that you really want to see. Just remember that seating's not guaranteed. And so if you want to get to an education or a deep dive session that you haven't pre-registered for, you want to get there very early, because what happens is they let people come in up to 5 minutes advance of the session, and then they close off or actually open up the standby line at that point, and then they let people that have been around or that are sitting in line for it get in. Again, you need your VIP session or your VIP pass to get into them, but that's how that works. Triva, you had some tips on that or some tricks.
Yeah, the thing to keep in mind as well, and I think most people will tell you this about Inbound, it is a very large conference. So, as Dave mentioned, the stage sessions, those are usually the highlights. That's where David Spade will be performing. That's where you're going to see Ryan Reynolds. That's where you're going to see the brain trust from HubSpot.
Yep.
In order to get there, you need to walk in the building and then go on the show floor and then walk all the way back to the building, which is probably close to a quarter mile to get there.
Right.
Then what happens is once you're done with that session, then you're going to have an educational system that's at the front of the building. And so you have to hightail it to get there. And they are very severe about making, if you've signed up, that you get in, and if you haven't signed up, then you need to go to the back of the line. So if you're 1 or 2 minutes late, even if you're signed up, they're not going to let you in because they want the speaker to be able to have a quiet room. So my advice is take the time to get there and to take the time to get to the sessions you want. That first day that you get there, as you're walking through, acclimate yourself to your surroundings and try and figure out where things are. So my first time there, I'm a compulsive gambler in recovery for about 21 years. And so there were all these video screens and the entire thing was pink. And Deepak Chopra was speaking, and he was doing this like 10 minutes on the miracle of birth.
Oh, Lord.
And I just had this meltdown, like, what is happening to me and where am I? Because I was like, oh, I'm just going to a conference. And then I was into Xanadu. So when you get there that first time, when you go, the first stage session is usually the big one where the CEO and the CTO of HubSpot speak. Just kind of keep an eye of your surroundings, figure out where doors are, figure out where escalators are.
Right. We've had some great questions come in while we've been chatting, Trygve. So Rena asks, will there be charging stations for devices? Yes, there is. And in the breakout sessions, usually there's plugs in the back of the room too, but there is a check-in, check-out charging station that's available. I would recommend probably just bringing a power pack because it's not always convenient to get back to that. And I don't know about you, but I have a special kind of bond with my phone, and I don't like leaving it out of my sight. So yeah, charging stations are okay, and there will be, but power pack would probably be easier. And then Steph asks, will there be a Minneapolis get together? And yes, there will. We are playing it by ear just a little bit because we want to, our co-hosts for Minneapolis, Dynamico, are going to have a large contingent there as well. And we're trying to work out details on the actual time, but it'll be after hours in the evening, and we'll be able to hang out and get together. There's also an entire hug section in the, I forget where it's going to be this year, but there's a HubSpot group space that you can use, and we're probably going to be using that space to get together. Great questions. Please keep them coming. I see all kinds of good friends. Omi's here. Hey, Omi. And just super excited. So let's keep them rolling and keep up with tips. And I want to make sure that Omi answers a few of these big Q&As or the power user tips, because I think Omi's been there, but more than Trygve and I.
Yes.
So thanks for joining. All right. So another thing that's new this year is HubSpot Academy Labs. So this is a Academy pilot program where they're doing more hands-on learning. So if you're struggling with a specific thing and you're trying to figure out how to do it, they're going to actually have computers there, and you're going to be able to dig in. You can kind of view these as like mini hands-on sessions. So if you have your laptop along, you want to bring that, or you'll be able to dig in and have the sessions there. And seats are limited because they're giving it a test. If you really need to get hands-on and check some things out, first, I would check out Labs. Second, I would probably post on or via the app saying that you need a hand. And there are a couple thousand partners that are going to be at Inbound, and you're going to find some folks that'll be willing to help you no matter what you have. So I would check that out. I mentioned the app a couple times. There is a specific trick to getting in if you haven't used it, so I wanted to call that out here. You need to use the email that you registered for Inbound with in order to get into the app. So you're going to download it from the Apple Store or Google Play, and then you need to use the email address that you registered for Inbound with. So search through your emails, and then there's a magic link that you'll be able to get in. So super easy, but I see a lot of people get confused with that because they think that, especially if you didn't register with your regular HubSpot login, sometimes that gets confusing. In order to get in through the app after that, you're just going to go in through the reservations and agenda. You can favorite things and you can register. Spoiler alert, if you haven't registered for events, you're pretty much going to be in the waiting list anyway, right by now. But it is important, and sometimes there are
there's a ton of things you can still do.
Oh gosh,
there's all sorts of open stages that you can go watch people speak. You might not get a seat, but you can at least stand in the back and you can participate. So there's even, and the other thing is as sessions fill up and demand continues to increase, so it's important that you do favorite those, because then what happens is is Thursday and Friday they start asking specific speakers to do an encore. So they'll present a second time so more people can see it.
Yeah, and I know one of our friends, George B. Thomas, he's already doing 2 encores of his because there were so many registrations. Kyle Jepson already has a couple of encores for his sessions. So, and they're going to announce more depending on how that goes. So that's a great excuse or reason to favorite, and you'll get notices in the app for that. You're going to want to build an agenda, and we just talked about this, but the favorite button and navigating my favorites. Favoriting doesn't save a seat, so don't get confused on that. You'll get a notice when you do register, and you can also build agenda on desktop if, like me, you like interacting on phones, but you hate doing business on your phone. I'm more of a desktop-y guy for the big screen stuff. Maybe it's because my eyes are turning to crap because I'm 50 now, but that's a great tip to be able to get in. Seats versus no seats. I talked about this a little bit already. If you have a saved seat, at least 5 minutes early. Remaining seats go to standby after 5 minutes. So don't think that you're going to show up and magically get in at 1 minute till. Get there early for those popular events or something that you really wanted to get into. I'm talking like half hour, 45 minutes early. I've seen lines go all the way back down the hallways for popular sessions, and they're only going to let in 15 to 20 people on those anyway. So watch yourself. The big sessions like Ryan Reynolds, Serena Williams, David Spade, those are open session, and everybody's going to get in because they're in the big section. But for the classroom spots, you want to make sure that you've got that set.
Is Serena Williams going to be there?
Yeah.
Wow, how fun.
Yeah, she's on a, what do they call it? The main stage. So that's going to be really cool. And then there's all kinds of other stuff happening. So keep your eye out. Main stage is all the big stuff. HubSpot Heroes has stories. There's going to be live podcasts that they're throwing through. I mentioned our pal, George B. Thomas. He's doing a versus session again, where it's sales versus marketing, and they're going to battle it out. I've attended that before, and it's a hoot where they get real loose and they have a lot of fun. Content creators are great. The Spot is a fantastic place for hanging out and building community. And then, all the other stuff. In HubSpot Meeting Center is what I was talking about before, with the ability to hang out and meet up with HubSpotters.
Now, it's important to realize that not all of these are in the same building. A lot of this gets overflowed into the surrounding hotels, of which there are 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. So Jenna asked the question, so for classroom spots, if you have a reserved seat, should you still get there super early? The answer is yes. Anything that you really want to do, make sure you're there early, because finding it and getting there is often a challenge.
Yeah, and Bethany asks, how much time do we need to give ourselves between sessions? Look at the map, because if one session is, a 10-minute walk away from the next session that you have, you should be able to get out. They have some built-in time to give you enough time to get back.
It's usually about a half an hour between sessions.
Yeah, you're not going to want to dawdle or plan to head back to your room in between, because that gets a little bit dicey. So that's the education and the sessions and stuff. Now we want to get into a little bit of the power user tips. So how to navigate the actual show and what to do in the background, in order to get the most out of Inbound. Any conference, half of the value is usually in the educational sections in the official program. The rest of it is the stuff that you can experience and the connections that you make. So I'm going to run through a bunch of things kind of in fast order. First, I want to talk a little bit about those click badges. We'll go through a couple of lunch tips, how to survive the show floor and get the most out of it, networking, parties, community, and getting into those sessions. We actually already covered that. So let's talk about those clicks. This is Trigvi, you were there last year in person. Did they have the clicks last year too?
Yep. They've had them for a couple of years.
Got it. So now users with Connect profiles will see their click connections on connect.com. So another reason to use the community link that I shared before. Again, if you just Google HubSpot Connect, it'll get you to the right place. You'll need to log in with your HubSpot account and ID. But that's a great way to kind of streamline and keep everything together. But as you can see there, you literally click together, you tap to make those connections. I'd still recommend keeping business cards because that's a standout and you never know when you're going to have something that you need, and or all of the after hours stuff. I don't know about you, but I don't generally like walking around to bars downtown and all that stuff with a big old badge on me. So I like business cards for that stuff.
The other thing to keep in mind, Dave, is make sure that you fill out your profile on the app, because as you can see from the picture there, when you meet somebody you like, you're just gonna bump your connections together, and the idea is hopefully that you can share the information, and the other person's going to share the information with you. So it's always a colossal bummer if you feel like you really have a connection with somebody and then help, and then you go back to your office on Monday and then look, and then there's no information there. I'm supposed to track down who Mark was.
Right. Totally agree. Lunch. There's a big window for lunch, and you can get there. There are sessions around lunchtimes, but VIP passes, get that for free. You can purchase your food if you're a general admission pass holder. There's a lot of stuff there. Don't come with fat stacks of cash because it's a cashless venue. I like and use Apple Pay. If you're an Androider, you can use the Google Pay, and almost all of the sessions or the places that I've been to, you can use your devices to tap in and pay. So that's super cool. But there's also food trucks outside at Lawn on D, and there's all kinds of stuff all over the place. So don't worry about going hungry, and you're going to get a chance to get all kinds of great chow at the show. Any other tips, Trig, on that?
Well, when you're talking about food trucks, the picture doesn't really do it justice. There's probably 60.
Yeah, I mean it's the entire square.
Yeah.
So.
And there's always plenty of food, and there's always plenty to go around. Generally speaking, you get a nice meal for about $15 to $20. It is conference pricing, but hopefully everybody's on an expense report.
Right. I see Omi unmuted. Hey, Omi.
Hey, I just wanted to say about the food trucks that the lines are usually worst like at noon, like between noon and 1. So either try to eat early or try to eat a little later is a good tip. And also it is usually, weather in Boston's unpredictable. It's usually super hot out in the food truck area and freezing inside the exhibit hall. So you might want to wear layers that you can put on and take off.
Good call. Absolutely. Yep. Show floor. So this is one of those things that Trygve Olsen is an absolute master at this. So I'll let him give us like the story of how he wound up with a Google Play device. But one thing that you need to be careful of and you need to know is that you can't bring luggage. You can bring a bag, but you can't bring your roller bag on the floor. They're going to make you check it. And it's going to be a pain. So keep it at your hotel for the rolly bags. And backpacks, I believe, are cool. Yeah. But you can't and they're going to be handing out bags on the floor at the booths anyway. So just get it. I would get the swag as early as you can. Take advantage of the photo ops. Use the hashtags. And please connect with the booth staff. We've made some amazing relationships out of our networking at the booths. Shout out to our friends at Kixie. We wound up with an absolutely just amazing relationship there. Gosh, there's so many wonderful stories of the times that we've been at Inbound and either found something that's brand new that was just trying to get off the ground, or making connections. Registered is our friends at Integrate IQ. We met them I think we met them at Inbound like 4 years ago. And they've been fantastic friends and partners ever since.
So I had an example here of what
Yeah.
what some of the swag you might get is, and this is from a company called Chili Piper, and it's a little thing that kind of looks like an Altoids container, but it is a spicy margarita kit. And if I open it up, there is a little thing of chili lime. There is a little shot of tequila. There's a little spoon, and there's a little sugar, and then there's a little cup thing that you can build. So it's cute. The thing to keep in mind, though, is that the people who are going to be there giving away the stuff is really what they're doing is selling. So it's important that as you're talking to people oh boy, I'll tell you a story about that, Rena, in just a second, because especially since Omi's here, because I thought I was going to kill her at one point in my life. Yeah, they'll love you too. So you're going to talk to salespeople. So as you're talking to those salespeople, make sure that when you ask for stuff, you get stuff. You're not just grabbing stuff. You actually, because they are going to be following up with you and they are going to be wanting to talk to you. So, try and make good use of it. And yes, there was a year where I did get a guy to give me a Google Home. It's still a valuable part of my home that my 10-year-old son loves to talk to. I think the worst thing in the world that I've ever heard is a 6-year-old saying, "Hey Google, play Barbie Girl again on repeat." So, but make sure as you get stuff, you're not just grabby for grabby's sake. Because those people put a lot of money into giving out cool stuff.
Right, and it is cool stuff, but it's also easy to get kind of into the conference mode and just grab every tchotchke and piece of junk that you find on a show floor. Not to say that you're going to see a lot of junk, but I don't know how many sets of like cheap sunglasses I have, and it's just because I get in the mode and like, oh, sunglasses, and so I grab them, right?
Yeah.
So I would just grab the stuff that matters to you, but get there early if you want the good stuff, and make use of that on Wednesday, first roll, because it's going to be helpful.
My big swag tip is find somebody who's giving out water bottles early.
Ooh,
because there's water everywhere and there's refilling stations everywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Rena asked the question, how hard will it be to get an Uber out for a flight on Friday? So that's a great question. It really depends on what time your flight is. I would say that you can any time from about 11 on, it's going to be awfully dicey, and realize that Boston traffic is legendary for its complicatedness. So the one story I will tell is my friend Omi told me, oh yeah, don't do that. Just take the bus to the airport. So I had waited 40 minutes for an Uber. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do that. And I ended up getting on a bus. And as soon as I got on the bus started going the other way from the airport. I thought, oh God, I'm not going to see my family again. I'm going to be lost in Boston, and it's all Omi's fault. It turns out it actually worked out, but there was a time where I thought Omi had played the greatest practical joke on me at all time. Bethany asked, "What about the T from there to the airport?" Yes, there is a T station. I'm not sure about the T station. The bus station is actually very convenient. It's about a block away from the convention center.
Yeah, it's the Silver Line.
So do a little research, but yeah, build in an extra couple of hours to get to the airport for sure, because especially if you're leaving at the same time, like at 3 on Friday is going to be rough, because right after the big session is over, everybody's going to be bailing out at the same time. So
now if you have plenty of time, I'm told, I've never taken it, but I'm told there's a water taxi that you can get that it takes you across the bay.
Oh, fun. Yeah, I haven't done that either. We should do that. That'd be amazing. So, so there are meeting and hangout spaces. So check out HubSpot Academy. Always has a banging spot. Make sure to check out the HubSpot Academy and all the learning and things that are there. If you get the opportunity and if you're networking, there's little tables and stuff all over the place. There's going to be working spaces. There's like lactation stations and quiet rooms. There's meditation areas. HubSpot does an amazing job at making this a very accessible, very welcoming conference. All of that said, there's 12,000 people there. So, I would make alternate arrangements, but take advantage of whatever you can, explore, get out there, wander around, enjoy. And Boston's a super fun town. So get there and get the full experience. I'm actually going starting Friday this week, and we're not leaving until Saturday. So we're going to get everything we can out of it because we've got meetings booked 100% solid from wheels down till wheels up.
Fun fact, though, for the folks from the Twin Cities, if you're staying an extra day, the Twins play the Red Sox in Boston on Friday night.
Oh, yeah. We actually did that 2 years ago and asked for, what was it, Fat Mike?
Fat Mike.
Yeah, and maybe you'll get some tickets walking right up. We got spot right behind home plate. It was really cool. Okay, so let's get into more Q&A and wrap ourselves up here. So first, BusyWeb's going to be live tweeting. Check out the socials, INBOUND24, of course. If you want to follow us on Twitter, if you'd like, that's where I'm going to be announcing where we wind up for our Hug Impromptu Gathering. I think our plan is to do that Wednesday. And we have a couple other shows that I've seen, but this would be Wednesday evening that we would get together, probably right after the big session. And then for everybody, especially our Minneapolis Hug, we are doing a live in-person event at the absolutely gorgeous Mississippi Crossings Event Center. And that's in Champlin. It's 15 minutes out of downtown from 8 to 9:30 a.m. It's right on the river, and the leaves will just start turning by October 2nd, I believe. So if you want a gorgeous venue, gorgeous space, and a fun time, we're actually having Alex Desnoyer, aka Des, is joining us from HubSpot, and he's going to give us the breakdown of all of the biggest announcements from Inbound and what you need to know, learn, and adjust as far as what's changed or new from there. So, and yes, Omi, you're welcome to just stop on over. That's cool. It's a short hop from Miami on up.
I think it's too cold for Omi now. until like late April.
Well, it's 78 right now.
Right. So she lives in Miami.
Yeah.
That's sweater weather for her.
I did live in Boston for almost 2 years, so I not quite as cold maybe, but yeah, still pretty chilly.
My goodness. Yeah, that's awesome. That is an actual picture of the event center in October from last time when I was there. So it's super cool. So join us then. We're going to be sending out a note, hopefully tomorrow, with the actual registration. We had to wait for official approval from HubSpot to make the plan, but now we've got all of our ducks in a row, and so you're going to be getting notices for that for everyone that's a member of the Hug, and that's how you found us. So everybody here that's online will get the note. Other big things that you wish you knew, or questions? Everybody's been fantastic about asking.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is this is a business event, and there are going to be business professionals here, and you should absolutely not wear business professional shoes.
Yeah.
You should. We keep talking about the size of the arena. It is sort of universally understood that from the ankle down, everybody's doing what they got to do, and I would encourage you to do that too. I myself have bought shoes specially for the event, and I've been breaking them in over the last 2 weeks, which will also help me later when I jog in the snow.
Amazing. Omi or anybody else that's attending here, any other recommendations or killer tips that we missed?
It's a great time.
Oh my God, it's so much fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. Definitely make time to walk the trade show floor. I think Dave, you mentioned that a little bit earlier, but if there's a session that you're on the fence about, you're not really sure that you will get much out of it, instead of jamming your schedule with sessions, maybe skip the ones that aren't for you and spend a little extra time, especially if it's your first time, meeting some of the vendors and meeting other HubSpotters. Like Dave, you said earlier, a lot of the value comes from meeting people, networking, and learning what you can from them.
Totally. a thing that I forgot to mention before is you should take lots of pictures of things.
Tons of pictures.
And almost everything has, or, you know, if you keep an eye on the hashtag, almost every presenter is going to do a little promo of their own event, and they're going to offer downloads of their slide decks as part of that. I think VIP gets access to everything anyway for downloads, but if you couldn't make it to something, or you really wanted that content, you don't want to take the notes, check that and keep an eye, especially on the hashtag, because that seems to be where a lot of the downloads get set. And just keep a folder in your Google Drive or in your 365 full of stuff, and then share that with your team, because this is awesome learning. I mean, it's really hard to get in and present. Trygve and I have been trying to present for 7 years now, and we still haven't gotten in. So, you know, it's amazing content and well worth keeping and sharing. So
it's also inspirational. It's also aspirational, and the entire event and the big secret about this event is that it's designed to make your business better and make your use of HubSpot better. And it either will help you make more money or help you save more time, all of which are unique to you. And so finding those experiences that are relevant to you is up to you, but they are in abundance.
All right, everybody. Well, it's a quarter till the top of the hour. Everybody needs 15 minutes to eat. So thank you all very much for hanging out. And I can't wait to see you at Inbound. I'm going to be posting our names are what you'll find us at on the community. But if you see us, please stop and say hi. We're going to post up on the Hug announcements, send out a note when we figure out our timing for the Minneapolis Hug, and also for Midwest Manufacturing, or Manufacturing Midwest and Fractional Leadership. So
Rena asked one last question. She says, what has been your favorite sessions that you recommend? They're always different. I know one of my personal favorites is when I got to say that I was in the same room as Jennifer Gardner, even though I was 150 yards away. But I'll say the one thing that I always really enjoy, Rena, is the first day, the two people who generally speak. It's the CEO of HubSpot, who is a woman named Yamini, and then the CTO of HubSpot, who is a guy named Dharmesh. And Dharmesh pretends he's not a very good speaker and pretends he's an aw shucks kind of guy, and is usually the most interesting and innovative and exciting session of the time. So that first session, absolutely worth going to.
And if you're curious about AI, I know that Dharmesh is going to be going kind of deep in his talk and talking about it. He's a luminary in that space right now. And so if you're curious at all about that, that's a can't miss. I've mentioned him a couple times, but our pal George B. Thomas, especially the battle session where they do sales versus marketing, it's hilarious, it's fun, and they get real tactical with real world stuff. So I love that one. I never miss a Kyle Jepson if I can avoid it, because he is so smart. And I shouldn't even say this, but he's about the most adorable, friendly, wonderful person I've ever met in my life. So you just owe it to your spirit to get in the same room as Kyle Jepson.
Why don't you ever describe me as adorable, Dave?
Well, no, you're affable. You're affable. You're lovable. How's that?
I'll aff you as well, Dave.
Thanks, man. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We can't wait to see you in person for our October 2nd Hug. Again, keep your eyes peeled to your email for that, because we're going to be announcing it within the next day. And see you at Inbound. Thanks, everybody. Bye.